The Pascagoula Abduction, the night two men were abducted by aliens. It started as a quiet fishing trip along the Pascagoula River in Mississippi, but by nightfall, two men would stumble into town shaking and terrified. They claimed they were taken aboard a UFO by creatures like nothing anyone had seen before. This is a story of the Pascagoula abduction, one of the strangest and most credible alien abduction cases in history. Charles Hickson was 42. He worked as a shipyard foreman. Calvin Parker, just 19, was a shy and quiet welder. The two were co-workers and not known for wild stories. That evening, October 11th, 1973, they went fishing after work. And what they say happened next would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Charles and Calvin had decided to go fishing and left around 5 p.m. that day. Around 9 p.m., as they packed up their gear, they heard a strange sound, a metallic humming that cut through the air. They saw an oval-shaped craft hovering silently above the water, about 30 feet from shore. It was glowing with two flashing blue lights. They guessed the size to be about 30 feet across and 10 feet high. A door opened, and three creatures floated out of the craft. The beings were about 5 feet tall, had robotic slit mouths and lobster-like claws. Just above the water, they floated toward them. They had legs, but did not use them. Both men would report being conscious, but were unable to move. Charles felt himself lifted into the air. The world around them dissolved into blinding white. Charles later described being taken into the ship by two of the creatures. Calvin was taken by the third and fainted from fright. Charles was paralyzed, unable to move. As the creatures carried him, he felt numb. The next memory is of being in a brightly lit room with a floating device that looked like a large eye scanning his body. There were no words spoken, just cold clinical silence. Then, as quickly as they were taken, they were back on the shore of the river. They were unsure of what to do after the incident. They were reluctant to report the experience, fearing ridicule, but they felt obligated to tell someone. They called Kessler Air Force Base in Biloxi. That facility would refer them to their local police department. They stumbled into the sheriff's office, both visibly shaken. Charles did most of the talking. Calvin could barely speak. Investigators were skeptical. They devised a plan to leave a hidden tape recorder running after the interview in the hopes that they would catch the two men saying something that would prove it was a hoax. Instead, this is just some of what was said. Jesus Christ, what happened to us? They're going to think we're crazy. I know, but I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. The recording convinced the deputies that whatever happened, these men believed it. The local press heard about the incident, and within a few days it was major news all over the U.S. James Harder, a professor from the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, APRO, and Dr. J. Allen Hynek from the U.S. Air Force were sent to investigate. Charles and Calvin were interviewed. They even tried to hypnotize Charles, but he became so frightened that the session had to be aborted. The men were encouraged to take lie detector tests, and they did. Both men passed. What about other evidence? Well, the day prior, October 10th, 15 different people reported seeing a large silver object flying over a housing development in New Orleans. Two of those people were police officers. And they weren't the only ones that saw something that night. Several witnesses later reported strange lights in the sky, with one man claiming he saw two people being sucked up into the air near the river. None of the witnesses knew Charles or Calvin, and all of their accounts matched. In what might have been a related incident, a couple of weeks after, a fisherman and some Coast Guardsmen saw an object in the Pascagoula River. It was a large metallic object with a light on it that they described as a craft. They took a large hook and tried to prod it. Calvin, he disappeared from the public eye. For decades, he refused interviews, trying to forget. But in 2018, he came forward, older and ready to speak. He released a book and shared details he said he had blocked out for years. The experience, he said, changed everything. Was it real? Some believe it was a genuine alien abduction, one of the most credible ever recorded. Others say it was sleep paralysis or a shared hallucination triggered by stress. A few suggested military technology, advanced drones or probes being tested. Skeptics just said it was a hoax. But the men gained nothing. If anything, they suffered. Charles passed away in 2011 at the age of 80, never changing his story. Calvin died in 2023 at the age of 68. Until the end, they both insisted that what happened to them was real. Today, the town of Pascagoula embraces the mystery. A monument stands by the river, marking the spot where the unknown made contact. So what do you believe? Were two ordinary men truly taken aboard an alien craft? Or was it something else, something darker? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love real unsolved mysteries, please consider hitting the subscribe button. The truth, it's just out of reach.